I'll cover the Wyckoff stages for Cardano both in weekly and daily time frames. Also, I'll cover the key price levels where Cardano will find support or resistance, and any breakout timing the charts are indicating to us, and in this case, for Cardano, certainly there is. Let's take a look from what we have in the weekly chart. And here, previously we talked about, we are potentially going through a sign of weakness period, which the last 3 weeks, including this week, has been at a level similar to the sign of weakness back in February, so 8 months ago. But still, it's a bit higher than the two sign of weaknesses during April and June time. As of now, it is still undecided of the direction, but when we get to the daily chart, we'll see why. Previously, we talked about the next stage of Wyckoff, the possibility of going to the upside for an upthrust was 30%. These, I haven't put in any tags over here. Supposedly that's 70% towards the new accumulation cycle, but it was still undecided, so we left that empty for a short period of time. But let's add that back now, and this was the accumulation cycle back in 2002 all the way to end of 2024, and currently that's where it seems to be heading to if the price continues to be suppressed by the bottom edge of the purple downward channel that started back in August. So if the price continues to trade below that particular line, we'll eventually get into this new accumulation cycle. Before getting to the daily chart, let's quickly check the Bollinger Band and Kontner squeeze. Currently, a squeeze is happening. Whenever a squeeze happens, it means bigger price swings will follow. So there were a couple of examples in Cardano's history. If you check this BB Kontner squeeze indicator on other altcoins or other assets, you'll find similar pattern. Just to remind you, if you're new to this indicator, it doesn't mean it always swings to the upside first. It can swing to the downside before it goes back up. So just to be careful when you use it, don't misunderstand it. It's time to get to the daily. From a daily perspective, the purple lines are getting closer and closer to the orange, meaning in the next 1 or 2 days, if the price continues to trade within this narrow range, meaning here, if that happens, the squeeze will happen, and then that's when a potential bigger price swing will happen. Last time it happened back in early July over here on the left side. Then we've got these swings. So after the squeeze, let's go back to the daily Wyckoff. Here, previously we talked about we're potentially going through a preliminary support period in the daily time frame. Not necessarily that it has, like this one over here, not necessarily that it's a selling climax. There's a possibility. So if that's a selling climax, that over there isn't an LPSY, it would be the automatic rally. And then we're going through some second tests and subsequent test stages, if that's the case, if this is really where the selling climax was. Okay, so it's still a bit of a question whether we have seen the lowest point already, because back in June, the lowest point was somewhere around 54 cents, or even lower to the lowest point that was around 51 cents. Even like in April, so 2 times in this year, there were 2 different lows, and both were around the same level of around 51 cents, including the one in February as well. That wasn't the selling climax, but it was a dip to the same level. This time, other than the October 10th crazy dip, we haven't seen a candle that closes near to this level. Alright, so that's why we're still keeping this somewhere around here. And we are getting very close to having our answer, because this light blue downward channel that deviated from the original purple rate of decline, now it's pointing towards a date for the coming weekend, November the 2nd. A breakout point is at that particular place, but then if you have been following my sessions, you know the price will break out before that particular date. So we are just a few days. There's only a few days for the big guys to tell us, are we, or is Cardano going to continue with this downward trend, this blue box, this blue channel box? Is it going to continue all the way towards the pink dashed line that I've just drawn? That's where the previous lows touched. If not, then obviously it's not going to break towards this side, but heads towards here, where there is the purple resistance to start with, and then the red key level as the second resistance, before it can go up to somewhere around the yellow key level of 95 cents to show us at least a second test, if not an upthrust of the distribution. Alright, because we had our buying climax back in July for the daily time frame, and then upthrust in mid-August. So that's the current picture for Cardano in the daily time frame. And in the next few days, or maybe even as soon as later today, the breakout may happen, and then we'll eventually know, is it going to continue the downtrend and come test the lower point to show us eventually the selling climax. So back to here, if that's going to happen, that means it's going to come below this white line and get really, well, not exactly into the accumulation cycle yet, because remember what I said, there were two low points back in April and June. So it may show us that point and then rebound, not exactly going all the way into the accumulation cycle. So there are two possibilities over there. One is showing just a sign of weakness and then rebound. The other is really getting into a new accumulation cycle. Alright, so thanks for joining me. See you in the next session.